This is the Carquest 300 from Deleware Speedway Park near London, Ontario. Today, a champion will be crowned at this final round of the CASCAR National Championship Series on one of the toughest banked half-mile ovals. So who will it be? Whitlock, Gibbon, Buck, Dowler. It's all down to the wire here at the CASCAR Castrol Super Series on Speed Vision.
Hello everyone, I'm Glenn Butt, and along with Pat Gonzalez and Todd Lewis, we're set to bring you all the drama that only a championship race can deliver. This year, CASCAR redesigned the National Championship to a 4-race series, 2 in the West and 2 here in Eastern Canada. But this series within a series has been anything but predictable. Here's Pat with the recap.
Thanks, Glenn. The 4-race National Series began at Race City Motorsport Park in Calgary, where Pete Gibbons passed number 46, Dan Shirley's troubled Chevy, with 5 laps to go to earn the win at the Mopar 300 in his Canadian Tire Chevy. Round 2 on the Edmonton City Centre Airport road course saw 66 Robin Buck lose the lead when he was taken out by number 5 Steve Jefferson. And that elevated Ford driver Kevin Dowler to the top spot on the podium as he took the win. And at our last event, more controversy as Robin Buck and Scott Maxwell mixed it up while dueling for the lead. In the end, it was the Ford driver Maxwell with the win, Buck in the UAP Napa Pontiac Grand Prix second, and Al Turner third. There's probably lots of drama still in store for this sellout crowd here at Delaware Speedway here today. And part of that drama came earlier in time trials when Steve Robley in the Taurus, who's always fast here, set a new Delaware Speedway track record. Billy Rouse, who's had several big crashes this year, did what he could in the Monte Carlo. But like John Gaunt in the Centennial Chrysler Dodge, it was just too big of a hill to climb to try to catch Robley. So the Mopar Fast 4 looks like this. Ex-CASCAR champion Steve Robley will sit on the pole position with that record hot lap. Next to him on the front row is Billy Rouse Jr., a driver who's been getting faster each time out. 27 John Gaunt in the Dodge was the 3rd fastest driver in time trials. And last of the Mopar Fast 4 is the privateer Don Thompson Jr. in the Monte Carlo. The thing to remember is that CASCAR awards points for time trials and heat races. And here in the first Champion Spark Plug 100-lap race yesterday, it was DJ Kennington that won it, with Ron Beauchamp Jr. second. But it was national championship hopeful Dave Whitlock who picked up those valuable championship points, taking third. The second heat race, the Blue Streak 100, was a pretty good race, especially between number 52, Billy Rouse Jr., and Don Thompson Jr., number 4. They battled up front until Rouse was bumped out of contention, and at the end, it was Pete Vanderweest in the number 77 Loctite Chevy who grabbed the win. So with the time trials and heat races concluded, the Canadian Tire CASCAR National Point standings looks like this. Dave Whitlock on top with 1,050, but there you see just how close that battle is, Glenn Butt.
Thanks, Pat. But one of the drivers not involved with that national championship hunt, but here nonetheless, and going for a three-peat with the Carquest 300, is Sean Dupuis, and here's Todd Lewis with him.
Sean Dupuis, you've won this race the last 2 years. You start 31st. Can you get back to the front and make it a three-peat?
Yeah, it's a race of endurance. You just hope that you can get through all the traffic. So you got to have good pit stops, and hopefully we can come through in the end.
Adjust the car and be on your way. Good luck. Pat?
Well, everybody's got a reason to be here today. There's plenty on the line at Delaware Speedway. We'll be back. The Carquest 300 from Delaware Speedway is sponsored by Mopar Performance Parts. STP, get your car into STP shape. And by UAP Napa Auto Parts, the right brand for the job.
All right, we're all set again with those famous words in Canadian motorsports.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the engines have been fired on the 38 CASCAR late models. There is John Fletcher, Dave Whitlock, the points leader, going into this final national run, and now the cars begin to roll on pit road in preparation for the run here today. Glenn?
Pat, an early problem for Rouse in the 52 car. He had help getting started. The crew pushed the car off. That will send him to the back for the start of this race.
There you see the front row, Robley and Rouse. Row number 2, DJ Kennington and Pete Vanderweest are 2 100-lap heat race winners. Back in row 3, a couple of Dodges in Ron Beauchamp Jr. and Ted McIntyre. Row 4, Dave Whitlock, the championship points leader, and to his outside, Brad Jakes. Row number 5, Kerry Mix and Dan Shirley, the defending CASCAR Western champion. Row 6 will have the 55 of Neil Fair and Dave Jacobs in the Ford Taurus. Row 7, Wade Lee, who's leading the CASCAR Western standings this year, and Rob Neely. Row 8, Nick Lapsovich and 04 former champion Andy Farr. Row 9, Kevin Dowler, who won at Edmonton, and 25, Jim Lapsovich in the Taurus. Row 10 will have rookie Mike Allgwire, and to his outside, Pete Gibbons, who's starting 20th. 16-year-old Daryl Haar and Robin Buck back in row 11 as we look at the rest of the grid.
And we just learned that Ron Beauchamp Jr. and Ted McIntyre, the 2 Dodge drivers, have also been put to the back as they had problems in tech today.
Well, Glenn, they'll be in good company with some of the other drivers who had problems in qualifying, including Earl Ross and Sean Dupuis. So 52 Rouse along with McIntyre and Beauchamp will start towards the back.
And there's the Ford race analysis with over $130,000 up for grabs. They'll go 300 laps on this half-mile semi-bank track, and it's very hot here, 29 degrees Celsius.
And it'll be even hotter in the race cars as you ride with Robin Buck. Here's Todd Lewis.
Here's what to look for from the 3 championship contenders today. David Whitlock, the leader, wants to save his car for the end of the race. Robin Buck is second in the event, starts 22nd in the UAP Napa car. He wants to settle in and be around and in the hunt at the end of it. Peter Gibbons is third in the championship, told me he's racing for the win.
Todd, you could not have scripted it any better. 54 points separating the top 5 drivers in the CASCAR National Championship. As they roll down the back straightaway, there you see the Billy Rouse Jr. car that's missing from that front part of the grid. He has gone to the back as a result of that problem, as well as our third row, and we get the green. And into turn number 1, the new track record holder here, Steve Robley, will grab the lead. What a brilliant run he had in qualifying. His team really put a great race car under him, and he was able to go out there and just shatter the qualifying record here at Delaware.
Reports, though, already that there's some smoke from the 28 car of Robley. Keep our eye on that. Hopefully that won't be a problem for him.
Steve Robley, your race leader, followed by 17 DJ Kennington. 98 Dave Whitlock is in third. And then Brad Jakes in the 35 car running back and forth. And right now you ride along with Brad Jakes, who of course won the Eastern Opener here at Delaware. A little bit further back, Pete Vanderwees dropping back. This is the battle for 7th between Vanderwees in the 77 Loctite car and 55 Neil Fair, who pulls up alongside the 2 Monte Carlo drivers going at it for 7th.
Great battle here, but I think the problem for Vanderwees was he was stuck on the outside there and getting freight train in these early laps. Again, this is one of those situations, Pat. It's early in the race. Everybody's trying to settle into the groove, and you also want to give everybody a little bit of room right now, because the worst thing you need to do now is make contact and knock the toe out and end your day.
Steve Robley, car number 28, your race leader. Here's Jakes way up high, gets the car real loose, and he's going to lose a bunch of positions as they work back to the stripe.
On board now with Jakes as he's stuck to the outside of Neil Fair now through corner 1 and 2. They drive side by side off corner 2, and it's still...
big crash on the front straightaway. There is Dan Shurtleff involved, along with the 33 car of John Saunders. Both cars have suffered severe damage. Shurtleff's car moving just a little bit, but he has really damaged that race car. And Glenn, I was looking down there when it happened. It was a big crash. Dan stood the car right up on its front end as he hit the opening in the concrete wall that's used to allow people up into the grandstands. The frame must be bent.
Yeah, and I would suspect that would pretty much make it a write-off of the 6-year-old Monte Carlo chassis. Good news that Shurtleff climbs out.
There is crew chief Tim Ellis showing the concern on his face, but he's got to be happy to see his driver out of the car and apparently okay.
An early exit for past CASCAR champion Dan Shurtleff, and we'll have more green flag racing after this. Welcome back to Delaware Speedway as we get ready to go green after the Shurtleff-Saunders crash. Here's Todd.
Dan Shurtleff, driver of the number 3 Monte Carlo, an early exit to today's race.
Yeah, it's too bad. I really can't tell you what happened, but sure took a heck of a ride. Didn't really want to end this way today with this car, but I don't know how much good it'll be anymore. But we'll have to take it home and have a good look at it and see what we can do with it.
Tough early exit for Dan Shurtleff.
Dan Shurtleff, of course, the CASCAR Eastern and National champion back in 1996, and boy, did they really tear up that race car.
You know, and just getting back to Dan, you could just really sense it in his voice that he is really heartbroken about this. He has been considering retiring at the end of this year, and obviously that's not the way that a man wants to retire his race career.
Well, I think Dan Shurtleff will be back in 1999. He's an outstanding driver. He's got a great crew chief in Tim Ellis and a dedicated crew. And after winning that double championship in 1996, you know, before he retires, he'd like to win another CASCAR title. Back to green as we look at the battle here between the 02 car of Kerry Mix in the Ford and number 46 Dan Shirley up on the outside. This is the race going on for that 5th place position as they work back to the stripe.
Well, Dan Shirley, the Saskatchewan school teacher, his car is totally built by their team with crew chief Rob Howlett, and Dan had a real heartbreaker in the first national race at Calgary where his electrics failed while leading with just a couple of laps to go, giving the win to Pete Gibbons.
Race leader 28, Steve Robley, who started from the pole, leads them back across the line. The 35 of Brad Jakes in second. There's 98, the current national points leader, Dave Whitlock, having a good run here early in third. Then at 17, DJ Kennington in fourth, and the 02 of Kerry Mix in fifth.
Watching a couple of battles here, Pat. You watch the Carquest 300. I'm going to watch this national championship battle as Robin Buck is moving up through the grid here. Keep in mind, he is second in points coming into this race. Considered a road racer, everybody figures he's the underdog when it comes to the oval tracks.
There's your race leader, number 28, Steve Robley, around the 67 car of rookie driver Derek Temiersman at Pontiac Grand Prix. So Temiersman goes a lap down early. He must be having some kind of a problem with the Pontiac. Here's Todd.
Leader Steve Robley in the number 28 car has a bit of smoke coming from the back of the car. Some of the teams have complained to CASCAR officials about it. The crew says it's just a little bit of oil on the engine. They lost a cylinder Friday night, had to do some work on the car. They expect that oil and smoke to burn off and clear up in the next couple of laps.
Well, we'll continue to monitor that situation as number 67, Derek Temiersma, has pitted and heads back out onto the racetrack. They did change the right front tire as Robley continues to lead.
Well, obviously everybody's going to keep their eye on Steve Robley, and other teams, if they continue to see smoke, will complain. But this guy is turning quick laps, a 20.847 that last lap by, the quickest lap of the race so far.
Here is the battle for the 23rd position. Sean Dupuis in car number 43 in the Taurus. And oh, there's Billy Rouse Jr., 52, who is working his way through traffic as well. Rouse right on the rear bumper of that number 43 STP Ford Taurus. Race leader 28, Steve Robley, coming up to put number 9. Stevie Smith a lap down. Right on his rear bumper is Brad Jakes. Glenn, Jakes wants the lead here.
He sure does, and keep an eye on Stevie Smith. The lap traffic here may be a factor. It usually is when it comes to these short tracks. They're going to be side by side coming off corner 4 here. Jakes to the inside, Robley up on the outside. Stevie Smith in front of him. Where do I go, Jakes says. Hopefully Stevie Smith drifts high into Robley's way and gives Jakes the opportunity to get underneath him, and that's exactly the way it seems to be working out right now. Jakes was able to take over the lead, utilizing perhaps Stevie Smith. You know, actually about that Stevie Smith car, the Dodge is running back in 32nd spot, but Pete Gibbons told me that he had a chance to try out the Dodge earlier at a practice at Peterborough, and he was amazed at the power that the car put out in comparison to the Chevy engine cars.
We look at the new race leader, Brad Jakes, taking advantage of the situation there as he was able to use Stevie Smith and get around Robley number 28. Now you ride on board with Dave Whitlock. He is all over the 28 car of Steve Robley. He wants that second place position. Dave Whitlock, who has just been a masterful driver all season long in being maybe a little bit conservative in the early going, but preserving the race car, preserving his tires. And DJ Kennington now running in that 4th place position. He has joined Whitlock in the battle with Robley here for second.
A lot of work at the steering wheel back and forth there, and it looks as though Robley is holding people up now. Look at how far ahead Brad Jakes has been able to pull away, yet that Haviland car seems to be holding up both Whitlock and DJ now.
There we look at the UAP Napa Field summary as number 98, Dave Whitlock, goes around the outside of Steve Robley to take over second. He will bring the 17 Dodge of DJ Kennington along with him. So, Glenn, there may be more to that smoke problem that was reported by several of the drivers with the Robley car. He is dropping back.
Either that or perhaps the way that car is handling and the way these guys are able to go past him. It could, in fact, just be a cut tire going down on the Robley car. We'll have to find out what's going to happen with that. Keep our eye on it. I'm not sure if this is an oil problem. He's losing a lot of ground right now.
02 Kerry Mix goes around for 4th. Let's go to Todd in the pits.
Peter Gibbons in the number 1 Canadian Tire Monte Carlo has charged from 20th place all the way up to 7th. Talked with Dave Herndon and the crew. They've settled into a groove now. They're up with the faster cars. They're just going to let it ride for a while.
Pete Gibbons has picked up 13 positions since the start of the race as he tries to go around the 28 car there of Steve Robley.
28 car's falling way back, Pete. Just go by him, bud.
You just heard the radio communication to Pete Gibbons as he moves around the 28 car of pole sitter Steve Robley, who continues to falter here with some kind of a problem to the Ford.
Here's a shot once again of our leader Brad Jakes in the Prestone Dodge, and right behind him Whitlock, who's trapped in a Dodge sandwich there with DJ Kennington right behind him. Brad Jakes has been able to drive this car anywhere he wants, and I think that's been the key.
Big crash, Glenn, in turn number 1 as Carl Haar slams the wall on the driver's side. And steam now coming from the car. He may have also done some severe damage to the rad and the cooling system. And there is Carl Haar. Now the driver is moving around inside of the car. The window netting is down, and he will get out of this race car, but I don't think this one will be repairable. He'll undo the hose there. Carl's got that very sophisticated electronic air cooling system, and he's about to unstrap the helmet.
Let's have another look at that crash with the Mopar replay. A hard hit to the outside of corner 1. Luckily, Carl is okay.
Under this caution, we've got pit activity 93, Alex Nagy in for some work to the rad, and there's 28, Steve Robley. Apparently, he had a tire going down. They have changed that tire as Robley heads back out. Here's Todd.
Pete Vanderwist in the number 77 Loctite car along pit road, crew changing the right rear tire, making some adjustments to the rear part of the car as well. Now they're going to check the air pressure on the right front tire to see if there's a problem. A lot of debris reported on the track.
Some work going on here. Sam Rounce and the AC Delco crew having a look at the rad for Alex Nagy's car.
There's a look at the standings. Brad Jakes, your race leader, just ahead of Dave Whitlock. We'll be back at Delaware Speedway with Bull Racing.
You're watching the Carquest 300 from Delaware Speedway near London, Ontario. I'm Glenn Butt, along with Pat Gonzalez and Todd Lewis, as the late model stock cars are getting ready to go back to green, and a problem already for Brad Jakes.
Cars split. That 35 cars, they come to the line. DJ Kennington jumps into the lead, but 35 Brad Jakes may have the tire going down. Oh, there is 79 Wade Lee as he drifts up high, but 17 DJ Kennington has jumped into the lead. 02 Kerry Mix in second, number 98 Dave Whitlock third.
On board with Brad Jakes as he steadily goes backwards here on this field into the pits now. A frustrating situation. Obviously a tire gone down by the looks of it as the crew gets ready to take care of Brad Jakes, the winner of our first event here at the Mopar 300.
Brad Jakes winning that Eastern event to kick off the CASCAR Eastern Championship, and now 02 Kerry Mix has jumped ahead of DJ Kennington to grab the lead. The Dodge and the Ford drivers battling just ahead of Dave Whitlock, who sits in third. And look at Pete Gibbons right behind Whitlock. Gibbons has come all the way up into fourth after starting back in 20th position. What a run to the front by Pete Gibbons, and you're looking at two of the drivers in the hunt for the championship there in third and fourth.
On board now with DJ Kennington in the Castrol Dodge, and look at those temperatures, 82.9 degrees in the footwell, Celsius that is, and 76.3 degrees on the dash.
Well, when the air temperature was 29 degrees Celsius at the start of this run this afternoon, Glenn, you expect those kind of high temperatures in the car, and certainly driver conditioning and stamina will be a factor.
Definitely a factor, Pat, and as well the teams will do everything they can to help the driver. They'll force air through ducts into the cockpit. The drivers will tape their feet because of the heat coming off the floorboard. It's just so hot inside that car. It's unbelievable how much they've got to endure over a 300-lap race like this.
Here is Sean Dupuy, Glenn. He's taken over that sixth place position just ahead of 97 Rob Neely. And oh, we've got a crash coming off of turn 2. 77 Pete Vanderweest is involved, along with the Ford car of Don Thompson Jr. So these two drivers have come together. Vanderweest is rolling. Thompson in his car, it looks like he may be through for the afternoon. We're under yellow. The pace car is on the back straight.
Vanderweest, however, will try to get back to the pits, obviously, for repairs. Let's have a look at the Mopar replay. I understand that Gaunt actually was involved with this as well, as he got into it with Thompson, and then Thompson down to the inside. Vanderweest with nowhere to go, he was collected.
There is Don Thompson Jr. He is out of the race car, and you can see a little bit annoyed and upset with number 27, John Gaunt, who may have given him a bit of a tap and got him into the 77 car of Vanderweest.
Ron Beauchamp Jr. heading back out onto the track. Looks as though he may have just taken on fuel. Understand we have a report from Todd.
Robin Buck brings the UAP Napa car down along pit road. He got into John Dupuis earlier, a bit of contact, knocked the toe out of the car, hood off the car now, and the crew is looking underneath the hood to see if there's any further front end damage. They see none. They're going to send him back on his way.
Well, there's Jim Lapsevich. Understand he may sub for Kerry Mix. Kerry not feeling well out on the racetrack. Here's Pat with a CASCAR profile.
Sponsoring a CASCAR race team is a commitment that's shared by many. Chaco Motorsport and their president, Ed Hackinson, have taken that commitment to the next level. Not only does Chaco Motorsports have their logo on Pete Gibbons and Dan Shirtliff's race car, but they've also posted $25,000 that'll be divided up among the top 3 drivers in the CASCAR National Series. Ed has been a longtime supporter of CASCAR and has given personally as well as through Chaco Motorsports apparel division.
For over 15 years now, I've had a philosophy that dwelled on helping motorsports in Canada. The commitment that we have for CASCAR over the next 3 years is simply an extension of that philosophy. Hopefully, we here at Chaco Motorsports can continue to help CASCAR and motorsports in Canada for a long time to come.
And as we get ready for the green, I know that Ed Hackinson has been instrumental in helping a lot of Canadian race drivers, and with that $25,000 point fund, continues to play a major role in CASCAR. We are back to green, 0-2. Kerry Mix jumping ahead of 17, DJ Kennington. There's Dave Whitlock, number 98. He will go through on the inside to grab second, as does number 1, Pete Gibbons, who will take over third. So they shuffle the running order up front on the restart. It's 0-2 Kerry Mix. And remember, Mix is in this championship hunt as well. He came into Delaware here, ranked 4th in the national points, just 42 back of Whitlock. As you ride on board now with DJ Kennington in that number 17 Dodge. DJ Kennington with 2 pole positions this year. He also won the CASCAR Regional Series in Quebec. And right now he is battling with the 43 car of Sean Dupuis.
92.6 degrees Celsius in the footwell of DJ's Dodge. That's about 196 degrees Fahrenheit. Hey, the boiling point is 212. It's closing in.
Very hot afternoon here at Delaware Speedway as we look at this heated battle for 4th involving 46 Dan Shirley, 43 Sean Dupuis, and the 79 car of Wade Lee, who runs in 6th. Oh, Shirley drifts up high. That will put 43 Sean Dupuis into 4th, and here's 79 Wade Lee. He'll pull up alongside and grab that 5th place spot. Of course, Lee 79 and 46 Shirley still involved in the battle for the CASCAR Western Championship. Wade Lee is the points leader there, and if he can have any kind of a result at the final Western race coming up at Race City Motorsport Park, he will win yet another CASCAR Western Championship. Up front, it's the Fords of Kerry Mix and number 98 Dave Whitlock running 1-2, but Pete Gibbons is right there in 3rd.
And an interesting scenario developing here. Whitlock ahead of Gibbons and Whitlock's teammate Dupuis behind. A somewhat similar situation occurred at our last national race at Mosport, where Robin Buck was behind Whitlock, who held him up until Ford teammate Scott Maxwell was able to catch up and pass Robin.
Well, they continue to battle here for the lead. Kerry Mix 0-2 coming into this final national event. Sat 4th in the points. Here's Whitlock taking a look on the inside. Nothing doing there as Pete Gibbons, who started 20th, works in that 3rd place spot. And now Kerry Mix drifts up high. Perhaps a little bit of a nudge there by Dave Whitlock, and he'll come through on the inside to grab the lead.
What a move by Whitlock. What a way for these guys to decide the national championship. Kerry Mix, he may not be feeling well, but he's not ready to give up yet.
Pete Gibbons also trying to go through. He's back. Oh, number 0-2, Kerry Mix into the side of Whitlock as both cars almost went into the wall, and Pete Gibbons grabs the lead. There's 43. Oh, Sean Dupuis into the side of Whitlock as Whitlock is spun right in the middle of the racetrack. Cars going left and right as they avoid that number 98 car of Whitlock, and number 5, Nick Lapsevich, has hit the wall. This will bring out a caution, but Dave Whitlock's championship hopes just about ended there in that incident, but he's rolling again.
Did I not say this is a way to decide a national championship? On board with the Mopar replay with Whitlock, all of a sudden he gets turned around. He's looking at the field. What the heck happened? Another angle here, but this is corner 2. This is where Mix got into it with Whitlock. Down in corner 3 now, Sean Dupuis actually was the one who got into it with Whitlock, but it was Whitlock who came down over top of him.
Here we are on board with Dave Whitlock as he's waving his finger there at Kerry Mix. Mix definitely tapping him. We'll be back.
This is the CASCAR Castrol Super Series and the Carquest 300, and you're on board with Pete Gibbons. Gibbons, of course, like Whitlock, who spun before the break, is in contention for the CASCAR National Championship that will be awarded here today. And Pat, Gibbons needs those 4 bonus points CASCAR awards for leading a lap in order to catch Whitlock.
Of course, Glenn, every single point out here this afternoon is important. And you do get those 4 bonus points for leading the most laps as well as 4 points for leading a lap. Right now, Dave Whitlock, after that spin, is back in 24th, as you saw the 97 car of Rob Neely slide up high. Neely, who had been having a pretty good run here, was running in 4th, but he has now dropped back. As up front, Pete Gibbons number 1 at 43. Sean Dupuis, who was running in 2nd, slides up high, and that will allow 79 Wade Lee to go through into 2nd. So the current Western points leader, Wade Lee, has charged up into that 2nd place spot. As Pete Gibbons continues to lead, Wade Lee in 2nd, 82 Ted McIntyre has come through into 3rd, and there is the 28 car of Steve Robley. After leading early and dropping back, Robley has worked his way back up into the 4th place spot.
To the high side of the racetrack, Nick Lapsevich in the 5 car with a problem. Hey, during that break, you got to wonder, where did Kerry Mix go? Well, CASCAR handed down a stop-and-go penalty for his involvement with Whitlock in corner 2.
That'll just about put Kerry Mix out of any serious shot here at the championship. Remember, he was 42 points back of Whitlock coming in. He's got a long way to come back up through the field if he wants to win this CASCAR National Championship. Look at this battle for 3rd involving the 79 of Wade Lee and the 28 car of Steve Robley, who had that track record run in qualifying, led early, dropped back, but Robley and his crew have done a great job of getting him back into contention.
And he has really capitalized from all of these yellow flags. It's really brought him back into contention.
Glenn, another driver with a great run to the front, 82 Ted McIntyre, who qualified 6th, but started at the back of the grid because of a problem in tech. He has worked his way into 2nd. Ted's having a great run, as is 55 Neil Fair, currently running in that 5th place spot. But here's 27, Johnny Gaunt in the Dodge, right up alongside of Neil Fair. And John Gaunt will take over that 5th place spot, and right behind another Dodge, that's 03, Speedy Jack Monahan.
Yeah, and Jack Monahan in the 03 Chrysler 5-star service Dodge has driven a smart race. He started 28th, and like Robley, has parlayed good pit strategy into a top 10 position. And Jack's another Dodge driver like Beauchamp, who had big oil pan pickup problems at the last race at Mosport and packed it in before the race.
Mosport was certainly a big disappointment for those drivers, Glenn, but they have bounced back here today at Delaware Speedway. As we look at the race leader, Pete Gibbons, number 1, just in back of him, 82. Ted McIntyre runs in that 2nd place position, but Gibbons continues to open up the advantage. But here comes Ted McIntyre. He's closing. We're looking at the battle here going on for 11th, 16 Al Turner. Right behind him, 31 Kelly Williams. And Williams getting into it with the 14 car there of John Fitzpatrick as they battle for... Oh, we've got a crash here involving number 6, Todd Nickel. And yes, that's the 35 car of Brad Jakes, who's in the wall.
The Mopar replay, let's have a look. And Kerry Mix was a part of this situation, running into the back of Nickel. Then Jakes had no place to go but into Mix. The STP Ford team for Sean Dupuis, they go to work. The Canadian Tire crew for Pete Gibbons also at work. Let's go to Todd.
Peter Gibbons in the number 1 Canadian Tire Monte Carlo along pit road. 2 right side tires going on. Crew's going to take the hood off. It looks like it's buckled up just a little bit from some contact. Little difficulty with the gas can getting it out, but he does get on his way.
Well, he ended up pulling the end right off the gas filler. Jack Monahan, his work is done. Everybody's pit stops are completed. This will take him to the checkered flag. You're watching the CASCAR National Championship from Delaware Speedway in Ontario. There's the Inside Track Motorsport News Midway Update with Steve Robley in the lead. Robley's really played his cards right here today, Pat.
Glenn, Robley has been absolutely superb, beginning with time trials with that track record at 20.290 to grab the pole. And right now he leads them back to the line, having led early in this race. Came onto pit road, they changed that tire that was going down, and he has worked his way back to the front. I think right now he's the fastest man on the racetrack.
Some fresh faces up top. Rob Neely running in 2nd there as well. But good to see Al Turner in the Blue Streak Chevy up there. He's off a podium finish from Mosport. It's been a long season for Al and crew chief Jamie Way and owner Morris Piper. They had some big problems with the car in the heat race earlier and had to replace a lot of parts on that Chevy.
Well, Al's coming under pressure now from 27, John Gaunt. This is the battle for third. Al Turner, number 16 in that Blue Streak Monte Carlo. The 77 car there of Pete Vanderweest is not running on the lead lap, so that is not a race for position. 16 Turner just ahead of 27 Gaunt in the Dodge as these two drivers go at it for the third place spot. 28, that is Steve Robley, your race leader in the Ford. And now Turner has closed on 97 Rob Neely, and what is shaping up to be a pretty good battle behind the leader for second, involving 97 Neely in the Dodge, 16 Al Turner in the Monte Carlo, and 27 John Gaunt in that Dodge.
There's a look at Ron Beauchamp Jr., winner of their 2 races in Quebec. Beauchamp had his 5th place starting spot taken away from him because of a tech problem, and he and the Mopar team have battled back to his starting position. 5th, Ron is still in contention for that CASCAR Eastern Championship.
Glenn, Ron is the definite points leader in the East, and of course our next race will be at New Brunswick International Speedway. That'll wrap up the Eastern Championship, but here this afternoon, as we look at the battle for third, 27, John Gaunt is through into third, 16, that is Al Turner to fourth. But here this afternoon, the CASCAR National Championship on the line, and right now that man, number 98, Dave Whitlock, with the points lead and running ahead of the other drivers who had a mathematical shot at winning the championship here this afternoon at Delaware. Oh, look at this, number 28, Steve Robley is dropping back all the way to fourth as 97, Rob Neely will grab the lead, followed by 27, John Gaunt in second. So for the second time here this afternoon, Steve Robley has led and run into a problem. This time he's bringing it into the back pits. This may be terminal.
The pole sitter now off the back chute entrance, and you can pretty much say when you drive off the back straight pit entrance, you're done for the day. Steve Robley, a tremendous drive. The team worked together. They had some pit stop strategy, some luck with some yellow flags. It brought him back into contention, back into the lead, and look at this, he's out of the race.
Great battle for the lead as 27, John Gaunt will go inside a fellow Dodge driver, 97, Rob Neely, to grab the lead into turn number 1, and there's Al Turner in the Blue Streak Chevy Monte Carlo. He is right there in a great three-way fight as they work down the back straight. 27, John Gaunt, your race leader. 97, Rob Neely in second, and then the 16 of Al Turner third. We're showing number 98, Dave Whitlock, all the way back up into sixth.
And we have a report from Todd Lewis in the pits that Rob Neely is having some serious problems with the heat in the Dodge. No wonder, with the temperatures up over 90 degrees Celsius. Steve Robley now, he climbs out of the car. A little bit of trivia there. Robley is the all-time leader in CASCAR wins.
27 race leader, John Gaunt back to the line. There you see the 97 of Rob Neely, and Neely appears to be slowing. The 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. has also come up here. He's battling for that position as well. You see Al Turner down on the inside of 97 Rob Neely. He will move into second. Neely runs third, and now 60 Ron Beauchamp Jr. looking for that third place, and he will get it going in on the inside of Neely into turn number 1.
Quickly now, Neely's lost a couple of positions as Ron Beauchamp Jr. goes through. Beauchamp Jr., what a great drive. Had to start from the back due to the technical problems, and he's worked himself back into contention into the top 3.
Here's a driver looking at moving back into contention here this afternoon at Delaware. Number 1, Pete Gibbons, who sat third in the national point standings coming into Delaware. He's moved around the 85 car, and there's 97, Rob Neely. He has slowed on the racetrack, so a problem with Rob Neely's Dodge. He had been running up in that front group, and now it's 27 John Gaunt and 16 Al Turner who will battle for the lead side by side as they come off of turn number 2 and head down the back straightaway. Turner up on the high side of the racetrack, Gaunt down on the bottom of the racetrack, and Turner will inch ahead to grab the lead in that Blue Streak Chevy. So Al Turner, coming off a third place finish at Mosport in round 3 of the national championship, has taken the lead. As we look at the field summary, there you see Dave Whitlock up into 6th, an important spot there for Whitlock as we continue to battle up front for the lead. Pete Gibbons you saw there in 11th, so Gibbons has got some catching up to do. Great battle for the lead off of turn 4. It's still side by side back to the line. 27, John Gaunt in the Dodge. Remember, he won the Eastern event at Peterborough. 16, Al Turner looking for his first victory this year as the two drivers continue to battle at it. But now 16 Turner drifts up a little bit high, and that will allow John Gaunt back underneath, but it'll be Turner leading back to the stripe.
Perseverance prevailed, obviously, because look at what happened. Al Turner now right out front handily over John Gaunt. Rob Neely, he's down on the ground. Looks as though heat exhaustion his problem. Boy, I tell you, Rob's had a troubled season this year. First, he was involved in a serious onboard fire. Then he had a serious foot infection that wouldn't heal, and now he's out of it again. Here's Todd.
Steve Robley, you had early problems with a tire cut down. You'd recovered from that. We're leading again. What's put you behind the wall?
Something happened in the engine. We picked up a miss about 3 laps before I come in. Got progressively worse. I think it's a valve train problem. There was no way it was going to last what we needed to, and to win the race was our goal. We had a really good car today. I feel bad for all the boys in the crew. Sponsors, Texaco Havoline and Grogan Ford, you know, they put their hearts in this thing too, and it's a shame.
Tough way to finish when you start from the pole.
And there's a guy that started 29th. Johnny Gaunt, he was in second. Not now. He's cut down a left front, and he's bringing it in on the rim.
Well, John Gaunt did slow there, allowing 16 Al Turner to take the lead, so evidently it was a tire going down, and now it's completely flat. Peter Shatanis and the crew will go to work here to try to get him back out to salvage as many points as he can. There is your race leader, 16 Al Turner, coming up on the 66 car of Robin Buck, and he will put the UAP Napa Pontiac Grand Prix a lap down. So Robin Buck, who came in to this CarQuest 300, just 30 points back of the points leader Dave Whitlock. His championship hopes may have pretty much ended. He goes a lap down. The 27 car of John Gaunt, they've completed that tire change. He's back out, and there's Pete Gibbons. He is now ahead of number 98 Dave Whitlock into 5th.
He has really progressed through the field. You've got to keep in mind a couple of things here. I'm not going to take anything away from the drive of Pete Gibbons, but as we look on board with Dave Whitlock ahead to Pete Gibbons has had a relatively clear track to work with at this point in the race. There's been problems, there's been guys drop out, so Gibbons has been able to drive through a lot further and a lot cleaner, and Whitlock, basically his strategy versus Gibbons' strategy is entirely different right now. Gibbons has got to win.
Number 02, Kerry Mix into the back of Sean Dupuis, who slams the inside pit wall, and this will bring out the caution. Kerry Mix 02 involved in yet another incident here this afternoon. He just tapped the 43 car of Sean Dupuis, and that is all that it took to spin him around.
Let's have a look at the Mopar replay. On board with Sean Dupuis. There's the tap, spins Dupuis around, and there goes our camera. Now another look at it. I actually think Dupuis squeezed him into the wall, and that's what happened. Kerry Mix ended up going into the wall, back into the rear bumper of Dupuis, and spun him around. It really wasn't Mix's fault, I don't think.
There's Sean Dupuis is out of the car, helmet off. There's Jim Rocheleau. As we look at the running order, you see Pete Gibbons in 5th. There's your leader, Al Turner. We'll be back.
You're watching the CarQuest 300 here on the CASCAR Castrol Super Series. Al Turner leads as the green is out, and that last caution was due to Sean Dupuis tagging the pit wall, and the report is that Sean is bruised, but okay.
Sean Dupuis had won the 2 previous CarQuest 300s here at Delaware Speedway. He will not make it 3 here this afternoon as Al Turner jumps back out in front. The 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. in 2nd, number 93 Alex Nagy 3rd, and then the capacity crowd here at Delaware Speedway watching this championship battle shaping up between that number 1 Canadian Tire Chevy of Pete Gibbons, who runs in 4th, and number 98 Dave Whitlock, who is back there in 5th. If the positions stay the way they are, Whitlock would win the championship.
Here's a Mopar replay of a driver change. The heat-exhausted Rob Neely has replaced Wade Lee in the 79 car. Now, Rob's car with the clutch gone, enabling him to get into Wade Lee's car. We also got a report during the break that Kevin Dowler, another Western CASCAR driver, has been replaced by Carl Haar. Carl took that good lick in corner 1 and destroyed his Monte Carlo. Pretty amazing that Neely is able to get back into the race pack.
Certainly is, Glenn. It looked like he was down and out when he came out of his car originally. Oh, we've got a spin here. Robin Buck right in the middle of the racetrack. Cars going left and right. They will avoid the number 66 UAP Napa Pontiac Grand Prix. Robin Buck running back in 15th, but not on the lead lap. He will get rolling again and will stay green. here at Delaware Speedway. There's Pete Gibbons on the inside of 93, Alex Nagy. The two drivers just about touched. That's the battle for third. It's 16, Al Turner, your leader. The number 60 car of Ron Beauchamp Jr. in second. Then Pete Gibbons won, now through into third. Alex Nagy, number 93, runs in fourth. And Pete Gibbons knows he must win here today for a shot at the championship. Here's Todd.
Ron Beauchamp Jr., the number 60 Dodge Avenger, is chasing Al Turner for the lead, but the problem he's having is his cars are getting a little bit loose. It was a gas-only pit stop for Ron Jr., no tires. He's going the full 300 laps on the same set. That's why his car is a little ill-handling and is having difficulty catching the number 16 of Al Turner.
Ron Beauchamp Jr. is going to have his hands full. I remember that stop, and I couldn't believe it. He only took on gas. When you get into this stage of a race, basically, he's worn those tires out, Pat. He's driving with the elbows out, so they say. He's making that car as wide as possible.
Well, Pete Gibbons must think that car's about twice as wide as it actually is. Number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. in second, may actually be holding up Pete Gibbons in that number 1 Canadian Tire Chevy 93. You saw Alex Nagy right there as well in a great three-way battle going on for the second place spot. We look at the UAP Napa Field summary. There you see Dave Whitlock, number 98, in that 5th place position, and that's exactly where he wants to be. There is your race leader, 16, Al Turner, about to put a lap on the 79 car. That is not Wade Lee driving. That is Rob Neely, who has taken over for Wade Lee. And right behind him, that three-way fight continues for second. Pete Gibbons wants to get around the Dodge of Beauchamp.
And look at that car wiggle back and forth of Beauchamp's. I'll tell you, those tires are spent. But it's worked for Bert McCall, the crew chief. He decided to go fuel only. There's Jack Monahan. As we look at him, he's up into the 10th place position. And going back to Bert McCall's decisions, it was strategy that worked out. Gas only, they're up into second.
Well, he continues to hang on to that second place spot, Glenn, but I'm not sure how much longer he can. Here's Pete Gibbons. He'll try to get around the Dodge on the outside as they come off of turn number 4 and back to the line. But Ron Beauchamp Jr. doing all he can to hold off Pete Gibbons. Gibbons knows he's got to win the race here today for a shot at the championship. Whitlock knows he just has to stay close to that number 1 car as we look at Dan Shirley, currently running in 12th in the AC Delco Monte Carlo, just one of a number of the CASCAR Western drivers here for this final round of the CASCAR National Championship.
Changing the lead coming up here as Turner slides high up corner 2. Beauchamp Jr. to the inside, and he will in fact take over the lead. Peter Gibbons coming through as well. A problem for Turner.
Turner going all the way back to 4th as Beauchamp becomes the new...
Go get him, buddy, go get him!
There you heard the radio communication of Pete Gibbons saying, go get him, and that's exactly what Gibbons is doing on the inside of number 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr., and the Canadian Tire Chevy driver Pete Gibbons will grab the lead. Ron Beauchamp Jr. drifts up high, and there goes 93, Alex Nagy, through on the inside. He will grab second, and it looks like we've got some kind of a brush fire in the cornfield on the back straightaway.
What a run by Pete Gibbons. Now finds himself the leader, and also Alex Nagy. How about that one as well? Ron Beauchamp Jr., maybe those tires they should have replaced because he's back into that 3rd position. But Pete Gibbons, he's got to win this race. And back there, you just saw a bit of red and blue. That's Dave Whitlock. His spotter is telling him exactly where Peter Gibbons is on the track. That's all they have to do is keep an eye on that number 1 car.
Glenn, this CASCAR Championship has come down to this battle between Gibbons and Whitlock, who just got around the 16 car of Al Turner to take over 4th, and now 82, that is Ted McIntyre. He will move to 5th, so Al Turner goes from the lead. Oh, we've got a caution being displayed here. Caution flag comes out just as Al Turner had dropped to 6th, and I believe the reason for that caution is that fire on the back straight.
That's exactly why. Here's the Mopar replay. Have a look. It looks as though a piece of metal came off of Al Turner's car. You can see it highlighted there as it bounces over the wall and into that field.
Well, Glenn, a bit of irony. Al, during the week, is a full-time firefighter with the North York Fire Department, and it definitely looked as though it was some piece of metal off his car, and now he's brought the number 16 car on pit road.
This is late model stock car racing from Delaware Speedway. Peter Gibbons in the Canadian Tire Chevy leads in this Carquest 300 after we had a flash fire in the adjacent field, and I understand that Al Turner lost his brakes, so in fact maybe that was a piece of his rotor that flew over that wall.
Well, now the focus of attention here at Delaware Speedway moves to this championship battle. You saw Pete Gibbons, your race leader, 93, Alex Nagy in second, 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. is third. And then back in fourth is the 82 of Ted McIntyre. Fifth is 52, Billy Rouse Jr. And then Dave Whitlock, who runs in sixth. But sixth would be good enough to give Whitlock the championship. If the positions stay exactly the way they are, Whitlock would win the championship by 10 points. But what a great run here for Alex Nagy. Started 33rd, he's running second.
And Pete Gibbons up front, he's got to stay there if he has any hope at that national championship.
There is Dave Whitlock running in sixth, Glenn. He has driven a brilliantly tactical race. And now you ride on board with Dave Whitlock looking to repeat here as CASCAR national champion. Pete Gibbons back across the line into turn one. There you see the gap back to the rest of the cars in the top 10. 93, Alex Nagy runs in that second place spot. 60, Ron Beauchamp Jr. is third. Then the 82 car of Ted McIntyre, followed by Billy Rouse Jr., who runs just ahead of number 98, Dave Whitlock, and the white flag is out. Pete Gibbons, number one, a lap away from victory in this Carquest 300. He will win the battle here at Delaware Speedway, but I think the war in this CASCAR National Championship is going to go to Dave Whitlock, who is back in sixth. Off of turn four, coming to the stripe, there's the checkered flag, and Pete Gibbons has driven the Canadian Tire Chevy Monte Carlo to victory. There's number 98, Whitlock. He'll finish sixth, and he'll take the championship by 10 points.
What a great drive for Pete Gibbons to win this, the 17th annual edition of the Carquest 300. And there's a shot once again at Pete Gibbons. A terrific drive and a great job for the entire crew. The final results, Pete Gibbons, Alex Nagy, and Ron Beauchamp. The top three, then Ted McIntyre and Billy Rouse.
There's Dave Whitlock in sixth, good enough for the championship. Mixed pair, Monahan and Dave Jacobs.
And there's Pete Gibbons, the winner of the Carquest 300. We'll talk to him after this.
Peter Gibbons, your second oval track victory, your second national event victory. What does it feel like?
It feels pretty good. Our Canadian Tire car just run great all day long, and I want to thank my mom for showing up for all these races. She's in a wheelchair and blind, but she's up in the stairs cheering me on, and I'm so happy, you know. We've had a couple hard races here where we haven't finished, and we've been fast everywhere, but that's more to thank the crew here than everything.
Congratulations on a great season.
Thanks a lot.
So the 1998 CASCAR National Championship has been decided. Gibbons and the crew gave it all they had, but there's the Canadian Tire point standings with Dave Whitlock retaining the crown for a second year in a row.
David Whitlock, no wins in this season as of yet, but another national championship.
Well, yeah, it's been an awesome year. The guys worked on the Ford Taurus really hard, and what can I say? We gained our third Castrol CASCAR Super Series championship. It's just been an unbelievable year. Been consistent all year long.
2 in a row and going for the three-peat in 99.
Yeah.
Our congratulations to Dave Whitlock and to Pete Gibbons. The Carquest 300 is sponsored by Castrol Syntec, the active lubricant, Mopar Performance Parts, and by STP. Get your car into STP shape. Dave Whitlock takes the CASCAR National Championship, but we've got 2 more to go, the Eastern and Western CASCAR Crowns. We'll see you next for our final race of the season from New Brunswick International Speedway.